Right now, you can carry out large one-topping pizzas for just $7.99 when you order Domino's online.
Alright, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another video here on the channel, and once again, man, I said this in yesterday's video, but in case you did not see it, I want to remind y'all, I just moved into a new office space to make content out of, and obviously it is not finished, so you're gonna hear a lot of reverb. I hung a blanket up behind me to try and catch some of that stray, but I mean, it's gonna be a little bit more reverby on today's videos than it normally would be. Once I get this studio completely finished, the audio will sound much better, so please bear with me. But today, man, I had to make a video about this because we've talked about this so many times before, right? Like, I just thinking about it, I can remember talking about this specific situation with James Charles probably like at least 4 times before, something like that, you know, just like different situations where he got himself caught up by, you know, DMing people he shouldn't be DMing, basically just getting way too horny on main, bro. Like, I don't know how many times this has to happen and you get exposed for it and like a big controversy arises out of it before you're finally just like, hey man, I need to stop doing what I'm doing. But apparently James Charles has not learned his lesson yet. He has not stopped the tomfoolery. He has not stopped the bamboozling behavior that he's been carrying on for literally years at this point, right? And it's actually really funny to me because, like, if this was any other YouTuber and they were getting caught doing stuff like this so constantly, I feel like the reaction would be so much different, right? But because James Charles was this massive figure online and he had this super devout and devoted fan base that loved everything he did, he's just been able to get away with doing this kind of stuff over and over and over again, man. And it's gotten to the point where, like, I'm just kind of like slapping my forehead and just like, I'm like, again, dude, are we really doing this again? So I don't know if y'all remember these other situations that unfolded, but basically over the last couple of years, James Charles has been exposed for texting people sexually that he should not be texting, right? If I recall correctly, one of the people I think may have even been underage. I'm not going to hold that 100%. It's just what I'm remembering. Maybe it's a different situation, but I think one of them was underage. There's been a couple different situations of him texting like straight dudes trying to get them to, you know, do sexual stuff with him or like be his boyfriend or whatever, right? Making people uncomfortable as fuck, just being weird, bro, you know what I mean? Just making advances on people that clearly aren't interested, right? And like I said, man, if this was any other YouTuber, I feel like the reaction would be entirely different, but because James Charles's fans just are so devout and like they love him so much, it's almost like they just don't even care, man. Like they never hold this dude accountable, right? Like everyone else is sitting at this like looking at it like, dude, what the hell is going on here? This is weird. But nothing really ever happens to his career. Now I know he's not necessarily as relevant as he used to be, at least from what I've been able to observe, but like that doesn't really matter at the end of the day, bro. This is still a huge online figure in the industry and everything, and it's gotta stop. Like, let's just call it what it is. This shit has to stop. So before we get any further in this video though, I want to remind y'all, if you have not subscribed yet, make sure you go down there and smash the subscribe button, man. All 2023 I'm working to make this channel as big as possible, just gonna grind out content, try and grow the Optimus Army even more. So make sure you hit that button and you're gonna stay up to date with every video that I upload. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into this video. So these are some of the text messages that James Charles recently got exposed for sending to a straight dude, making him uncomfortable. As you can see, they are coming from the official James Charles Instagram account. And one thing I want to point out before we even read these is they're sent in something called vanish mode, which on Instagram is a mode that you can send messages in that once they're seen, they're deleted. So it doesn't actually save your messages to the chat. Basically, the moment you open them, if you close the chat again, like it's over with, right? Like you can't go back and see those messages. Now, the reason James Charles texted this dude in vanish mode was because this has happened before. People have screenshotted him, you know, making these advances before, exposed his ass on social media, completely torched him for it, right? And he doesn't want to get exposed again for doing something that he clearly knows is fucking weird, right? So he's sending all of this in vanish mode to try and cover his tail. It's a really lucrative role. It's called My Boyfriend. Requirements: 6'2 plus. Must love escape rooms, horror movies, and cuddling. Big, you know, armpit hair, and an occasional FaceTime call. The salary is $0, but it's a good job offer, I think. Perks include a cute boyfriend with a great personality and a huge ass, free living in a $10 million house in LA, fun travel opportunities, good head, and more. My oh my, James, what an opportunity, you know? For somebody who's not the same sexuality as you, I mean, I'm sure that's got them just fucking running for the doors. Now, I just want to say, like, before we even get any further and, like, talk about why this is weird, bro, like, let's just talk about these messages, man. I don't know who dude thought he was, fucking Adolf Rizzler, Risley's Believe It or Not, the Wizard of Oz. I have no idea who man thought he was, but these messages are absolute cringe, bro. Like, this, Jesus, man. It, like, almost makes me want to throw up. Like, it's so tacky. It's corny as fuck. Like, I would be embarrassed. Like, if I was texting somebody, man, like, you know, a little hookup on Tinder or something, I slide, I'm like, hey, you trying to be my boyfriend? Requirements, you know, and I list off all this shit, talk about how good of a job offer. Like, shut up, bro. It's crazy, though, because, like, I'm sure this has worked on somebody before. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure he's probably hit somebody with this goofy shit before, and they just, I don't know, fell head over heels or whatever, right? That's what's craziest to think about this whole situation, man. It's cringe. It's so cringe. But anyway, obviously, this is weird, right? I don't think that's even really up for debate anymore, you know what I mean? This guy's just being weird, you know? Like I said, he knew what he was doing because he sent this shit in vanish mode, bro. Like 21 Savage said on that song, man, I DM in vanish mode, I do that shit a lot. The difference is he's 21 Savage, this is James Charles, you know what I mean? From what we know, 21 Savage ain't out here being a fucking weirdo, so... But it doesn't stop there, actually. This entire situation goes even deeper and even deeper, right? So there's a TikTok made by this account that I'm about to show y'all that basically breaks down even more of the situation.
So if I'm being like, oh my god, David, you're annoying, over text, right? You don't know if I'm saying like, oh my god, David, you're being annoying. Or like, oh my god, David, you're being annoying. Or like, oh my god, David, you're being fucking annoying. Because all three of those are completely different, like, emotions that you cannot.
For Expedia members, travel doesn't end at booking. It's getting a discount on your trip.
Not see through text. You only get to actually experience those through a FaceTime call or through being in person. Even over the phone, you still miss out on things because you're missing somebody's facial expressions, right? So because you refuse to hang out with people or because you refuse to FaceTime, you're not allowing people to actually get to know you as like a human being. And that's a massive, massive problem whenever it comes to being in a relationship with somebody. You cannot fall in love with somebody simply just from text.
All right, so this video here is supposedly James Charles sending like an Instagram DM video to the dude that he's like trying to convince to FaceTime him, right? And he's like, I don't know, explaining apparently what the value is of having a face-to-face conversation it is over text, you know what I mean? Like, just explaining shit that anyone with common sense knows, man. Like, yeah, of course, if I'm on FaceTime with somebody talking to them, that's a completely different dynamic than if I'm, you know, texting them over Instagram with vanish mode on, right? It's just, I don't know, man. Like, he's just explaining shit shit that everyone already knows. Like, if you've ever talked to another human being before, you already know that, like, texting someone is definitely not the same. But it's weird because, like, it's almost like James at this point's like trying to gaslight him. Like, oh, he says it, like, explicitly in there, he's like, oh, well, that's not good for a relationship, you know? You're not doing anyone a favor with that, right? Like, almost, it sounds like at that point, like, he's trying to make dude feel bad for, like, not wanting to FaceTime him, you know what I mean? Like, that's fucking creepy in my opinion, bro. That's just weird. Let me give y'all, like, a free piece of game. Like, first off, you shouldn't be taking no free advice on game from, like, a commentary YouTuber in the first place, but if there's any piece of game I can ever tell y'all, man, if you're trying to, like, you know, talk to somebody or whatever, you're trying to get in with somebody, right, and, you know, you're trying to FaceTime them or whatever, right, and they're just, like, not going for it, you know what I mean? They're giving you a fucking excuse or whatever it may be. Step back, bro. That's all you gotta do. You do not need to keep pushing. You do not need to be weird about that shit, man. Just let it go, bro. At that point, like, they're not trying to FaceTime. They're not trying to FaceTime. You don't need to sit there and fucking film a 3-minute video introductory essay, you know, explaining the necessity of having face-to-face conversations for a relationship to form. Like, it's just not necessary. It's just weird. And then also it says that he had apparently sent the dude 2 photos that are apparently graphic or NSFW after the dude kept declining to send a selfie, which I just want to say this, man. Imagine this, right? Like, imagine, I'm straight, right? So imagine a controversy came out, right? Where, you know, it's like, oh, Optimus sent 2 dick pics to some girl who kept declining to send him a selfie and refused to FaceTime him, right? I would be called a fucking weirdo, an oddball, a predator, all types of shit, right? Like, people would be tearing me the fuck apart. But when James Charles does shit like this twice a year, who gives a fuck? You know, who cares? Who says anything about it? You know what I mean? Yeah, sure, it trends on Twitter for like a day and a half and a couple people make videos about it or whatever, and then it just disappears again and the guy gets to, you know, to serve his 4-month sentence before he does it again. I don't know. But I mean, that is just, it's weirdo behavior. Like, you should never send any sort of unsolicited nude photo to anyone regardless, man. Like, if that shit is not asked for or communicated beforehand, do not do it. Once again, if you can take any advice from me, man, digital footprint. Don't do that shit, bro. Do not send no nudes to nobody, no way, no how. That shit you send over the internet sticks around forever. It doesn't matter. Like, if you're gonna be a fucking weirdo, bro, you know, you're gonna get exposed. Like, it's gonna happen. And the craziest part about all of this, right, is this motherfucker still hasn't learned his lesson. Like, dude is
Get great deals no matter.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. Well, yesterday, a story was making the rounds with the PlayStation 5 and a potential design flaw that was found when it comes to how Sony is handling the liquid metal inside of the system. And it's gotten to the point where people are questioning how they should even set up their PlayStation system in the first place. We'll go over that here today. Also, we are going to be talking about a brand new Xbox controller that was unveiled at CES.
I see.
Things are right. Things are right.
COVID-19. Some people get it, and some people can get it bad. And for those who do get it bad, it may
crunchy peanut butter.
I'm sorry, but legends now.
I see.
What's the trick? I wish.
Peaceful state. Full plate. Wait, are you my blind date?
Lost in your. Legends now.
Why can't I wear white after Labor Day?
Thank you.